Live Massive Action Podcast, episode number
I think I got the numbering wrong last time, so it should be number 11.
number 11. Massive Action Podcast. We're about to get started here, and let's go. This one. Let's go. Got my co-host with me. We're also live on TikTok. Get into it. Got the Massive Action swag on. It's going down. Let's get Let's get started. Massive Action Podcast. Everything related to the automotive collision industry. On the Massive Action Podcast, we talk more about tactical things, things to implement in your business, things that maybe you're a technician and you're trying to open a shop. Maybe you're a first-time shop owner, or maybe you're taking over a family-owned business and you're trying to you have some obstacles in the way. We want to talk about it. We want to share what we've done and how we've gotten over some obstacles and how we've able to build a pretty solid foundation, and it just keeps growing. And we just want to share everything that we've learned and all those situations, and maybe it'll help you kind of get to the next level a lot faster. So let's get started. Usually the way it works is Aaron will drop some questions and some stuff maybe people ask through YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram, and we'll kind of go into those questions. One thing I do, if you can please give us a subscribe, give us a like, follow, all that stuff. Maybe even share it, But the goal with the podcast is just to share some information, situations that I've been through that help grow the business, some of the successes, some of the failures, some of the stressful nights, but we managed to get through it. So let's get started.
All right. So first we're going to be talking about...
Oh, we have questions there. All right, nice.
First location. So should you buy or lease a garage, maybe work out your house? Things to look for, good or bad?
So one thing that I always suggest to technicians is, like, if you're already a technician somewhere and you're making money, like you've been there for a couple years, what I always suggest is, like, I'm like saying, hey, like, use that current job to see if you can get approved for a loan, or don't quit your job yet. Like, use your job to make sure that you have good credit. That way you can build the business credit, right? And so to answer the question, should first location when opening a business, should I lease or buy a garage? It really depends. I mean, so let's just kind of put two scenarios out there, right? Let's just say if you're not sure if this is what you want to do, I would say, maybe just lease something for temporary. What I would suggest, let's talk about both of them, all right?
All right.
Let's just talk about both of them, because I've done both of these, and there's some advantages and there's some things to avoid. So, getting into a 1-year lease can kind of be like scary, because think about it, like you're gonna rent a building. More than likely the rent's gonna be $1,500 to $2,000 to, I think we're paying $3,500 a month at one time. It can be a little, like, overwhelming. Think about it, man. What if I can't make what if I can't pay the rent? Mm-hmm. What if I can't get customers or whatever, right? And what I suggest is, like, if you have to lease a place, just make sure that you work out something with the owner of it, the landlord, or the manager, the property manager. Just be transparent and says, hey, you know what? Like, this is my first year of business. I want to know if y'all be willing to work with me. If I have to move 6 months in, like, can we work something out? Just try to get all this stuff in writing, because look, the lease agreement can change. It's a lease agreement is basically saying you're agreeing to do this, I'm agreeing to do this, right? And basically all it is saying, hey, you're agreeing to pay 1 year of rent for this amount under these conditions, and you just agree to it, right? But they can modify it. They can change it. They can say, hey, you know what? Tenant is willing to tenant is able to move out with maybe a 30-day notice. Or tenant, there's some things you can put in there that will kind of help you out, and also too, like, just say, hey, if I might be late, can you work with me on getting the rent? Work with me if I'm having to be late on rent. Would you be willing to work with me? And make sure you just make sure you have that relationship moving forward, because a lot of times those I mean, dude, like, if it's a landlord and he knows you're trying to get your business going, they want to see you win. You know what I mean? Like, they want to work with you, and like, if you're cool with them and you say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, will you be willing to work with me? A lot of times they will work with you, dude. And if it's been vacant for a long time, if it's been empty for a long time, just say, hey man, will y'all let me move in and maybe start paying maybe after 2 months, or can I move in and then pay y'all the first month next month? Can we start next month? And that way you kind of get a head start on getting some work in there, building some income to pay the rent. But and then also let's talk about, it's basically like the owner of the building, the building selling to you with payments, and so you're not having to go through a bank and get approved on that. So that's called seller financing. Hold on real quick. Let's see what's going on here.
Hover over that little preview.
What?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah.
This?
Where it says play.
Versus what?
The play button.
Oh, this?
Yeah. Setting.
Okay.
Oh, see how it's not live?
Over here?
No, the slider.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, move that slider all the way forward.
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Sorry about that. We were trying to adjust our live. So our YouTube. So what I was saying is, like, and if you're watching live, please drop a comment. Please drop a comment in the chat, or give us a 100. Let us know that you're listening and that you can hear as well. But like I was saying, if you can buy a building without having to go through the bank, and so the way that's done, it's called seller financing. And so the seller financing, the way that works is like, you approach the owner and says, hey, would you be willing to sell it to me in terms? And terms actually means like payments. So you can say, hey, would you be willing to sell this to me in terms? And see what they do, because a lot of times if they have a building that's worth $300,000, okay, and they sell that building, they're gonna have to pay tax on that money.
Oh,
right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times they can say, hey, would you be willing to do a seller finance, and you finance the building to me, and I'm paying you in payments. So now you're actually buying it from that person. Then what you could do is, once you're in that building for a couple of years, you can refinance it out of their name. So basically, you can go now. Once you have the building, you're paying the payments, right? You can go to your bank and says, hey, I own this building. I'm paying this guy payments on it. I want to refinance it. And then what the bank will do is the bank will pay that guy off, and then they'll refinance, and you're paying the bank now. So that's a way. That's a hack to get into a building without having to go through this crazy process of showing income and all this stuff. Because technically, if you sell or finance it, you own it. Mm-hmm. You own it, but you just have a lien on it. You just owe them money on it.
Yeah.
So it's technically your building because the deed transfers over into your name. Okay. so 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 it there's two different plays. Like let's just say if you're looking to lease a building, right? And and you ask the guy, hey, would you be willing to sell the building? And he says, yeah, I might consider selling it. And maybe it might be an opportunity for you to buy the building.
Hmm.
You're yachty, dude.
I know.
So
Turkey.
so it might be an opportunity for you to be able to maybe buy that building. And maybe you're thinking, well, what am I going to do with this building if I buy it and it doesn't work out? Well, you can rent it. You can rent the building out to someone else, so now you own a building. There's a couple ways you can approach that. What else you got, Aaron?
Uh, would you ever use your house as a shop? Like if you're starting off, would you recommend that?
You can use your house as a shop.
Hmm.
The thing is like, hold up. The thing is like you got to decide if you want people going to your house all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to decide if you want people going to your house, strangers. I mean, if you're doing like maybe some custom small stuff, maybe, but I mean you want to kind of transition as fast as possible. Like you don't want to be doing too much repairs at your house.
Yeah.
Uh, and what it does, it kind of reflects like your client base. You know what I'm saying? Like if your client base knows like oh yeah, he does that at his house. He's kind of just like he does that as a side job or it's a side hustle. Like they're gonna assume that you're not taking it too serious, and so whenever you're trying to charge them serious money, they're gonna want to pay it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why am I gonna pay you serious money when I can just take it to a business location? So people just assume that just because it's a business location, it might be better, but that's not always the case.
Hmm.
You know.
Uh, and
But let me tell you, that's another hack right there. So let's just say, I mean, that shit. I mean, if you let's just say you find a house on the outskirts, right, and it has a garage, a good sized garage. I mean, you could start to do work out of that, and maybe that could pay the rent.
yeah.
You can let's just give some different scenarios, right? You find a house has a good sized garage on it, right? And you're like, man, I could probably work out of this place, right? And maybe you ask them to sell or finance a house, and you're using the business to pay the house. Like, I don't know, it might work.
One time I saw a house that had a lift in it. Like we're looking to buy houses.
Yeah.
It had a garage in the back with a lift.
Dang.
Pretty cool.
Maybe they had a car collection.
Probably. They had a good sized lot. Location wise for your shop, is it best to pick a location near other shops, or do you kind of want to be secluded from other ones?
So probably the best thing to do, like, is to figure out like what where your customers are gonna be at, right? For example, like let's say you're looking for shops and you're trying to find the cheapest the cheapest shop to get, and that the shop's in the hood, and you're like, hey man, this is a 5,000 square foot place. The guy only wants $800 a month. That's a good deal, right? But you have to think about the location though, because you're gonna have people that might not want to go over there. They're not
Yeah.
gonna want to go to that location. So it's always gonna be good to go to Google Maps and search body shops and kind of see where everybody's at, and then try to find something that's maybe not in the area. That might work for you, but sometimes you might not be able to find something in the South Side. So you know what? One thing that we did that might help your business is like, let's just say you're in a decent location, right? You're not in the hood, you're not in the rich neighborhood, but you're kind of like in the middle, right? Okay, you have a shop that's in the middle of a good area, right? You can partner up with the mechanic shop that's in the rich side, and just have you can just say it's like a satellite location.
Oh, okay.
You see, and so what that does is now you have two locations. So now it's gonna bing two times. So that can be a satellite, and you can just say it's a satellite location. We don't really we take maybe appointments there by appointment only,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you can say, it's just it's just appointment only, and if someone calls, maybe you can redirect them to your other location. So there's a bunch of things you can do on that. What else you got, Aaron?
How do you set pricing for labor?
For like so if it's
It's
well,
like
I
a
mean,
claim.
yeah. The usually the way it works is like there's like a market value, right? So like I know in Texas, lower like Texas, San Antonio, it's at $60 an hour.
So
If
like
you
South Texas, it's like
Yeah,
small.
and if you go up north, they start to get higher, and there's a bunch of different factors that play into that. It might be like it just might be that demographic. It might be just the cost of living's more. It also could be it also could be related to the amount of accidents.
Oh,
You see,
more
so
work. Like
it could be a bunch of different
yeah.
things. You know what I mean? Maybe what the other shops are charging, stuff like that. But uh, typically, what you'll want to do is you want to kind of see what the market value is in your area, and you want to be up there. You don't want to not know what you should be charging. You know what I mean? Because then what's going to happen is you kind of screw it up for everybody else. Because let's just say, for example, your shop, you don't have a computer. You're just like very old school. You do everything cash. You don't take credit cards, and like you're still charging, what you charged maybe 15, 20 years ago, right?
Hmm.
And then there's a new guy that opens up, and he has the computer. He has everything he needs. And so the insurance starts to call around to see, hey, what's your labor rate? What's your labor rate? And so they get like a market like assessment of that area. And so now it kind of hurts your business because they're not up to date with technology. They're not up to date with the current value prices, or what the current labor rates are. So it'll screw you up.
Next up, we are going to talk about blending paint. So, what is it, and when do you do it?
Blending the paint. I mean, usually like you want to try to blend everything you can. I mean, the insurances don't like to pay for that sometimes, but a lot of times it's required. Like you want to be able to get a blend on it. The blend's gonna make sure that the color's right. What you can also do, if you're doing supplements, is you can send them photos that you're blending it to
Hmm.
supplement, or you can also request tent time. Tent
Tint.
time, yeah. Tent time allows you to do spray out panels. So you can do spray out panels. You can compare it, but 9 times out of 10 you want to blend. Like you want to blend if it's a metallic, if it's a pearl. You want to get a blend on there. Unless it's a bumper, like you could probably get away with not blending the bumper, but you always want to try to get a blend on there.
And
Yeah.
then the next one, there's a typo there, but have you ever had to buy paint in small quantities? So instead of like a big gallon paint or like a pint.
Yeah. I mean, so like let's just say that's a good question. Like if you're a smaller shop
Mm-hmm.
and you're debating about getting a mixing system, right? So look, for a long time we would just order paint. Like if we had a vehicle that come in, we would just order the material, like order the paint, order a quart or a pint, right, or 2 quarts or whatever. And what happened was, for one, you're overpaying for the material, and you have a lot of waste. So what's gonna happen is before long you're gonna have all these extra containers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna have all this paint. Like you'll start to have a cabinet full of paint, and it's just extra storage. It's a. I mean, you're never really gonna use all that paint, you know, uh, and it just becomes like something else you got to manage. Whenever you decide to get a mixing system, what happens is your cost goes down. For example, if you have to mix a pint, if you have to buy a pint of paint, it might cost you 150 to 200, right? Okay, but if you mix it in house, it'll probably cost you $50. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it actually saves you money, and you can actually mix exactly what you need versus buying all this extra paint that you don't need. And it just becomes waste. Like it's all it is. It's waste. But maybe you're kind of on the fence of getting a mixing machine. Um, I would say, like, if you're gonna get a mixing system, don't get a cheap one. Try to get something that's kind of all right. Don't try to go with the cheapest one. Uh, and um, and this is important. Don't get under any kind of contracts with them. So a lot of times, whenever you decide to get a mixing system, they're gonna want you to sign a contract. Okay, you don't necessarily have to sign that. You can say, you know what, I'll get the mixing system, but I'm not gonna sign a contract.
Hmm.
Because you don't want to be like tied in. You don't want to get screwed over anyway. So you don't have to get into a contract. Just tell them you don't want to get into a contract.
Yeah.
But if you decide to get a mixing system, you have to make sure that you're producing. Like, you have to make sure that you're buying your other material from that store, because it's only right, dude. Like, they're gonna hook you up with the mixing system, but like, make sure you're buying your paint. I mean, your tape, your paper, your fillers, everything from that store. Don't like get the mixing system from them and then go buy at O'Reilly's and Napa and all this other shit.
I think Daniel said.
Oh, what did Daniel say? Yeah, that the Chromax XP is good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good system right there, and that's all you need right there. Like the Chromax XP, that's all you need. Like that's dude, that's all you need right there. Just make sure they're using the sealers. Make sure you're using the primers, and you're good to go. They actually have the Snap Clear. Are you familiar with the Snap Clear, Daniel? They actually have a Snap Clear that works pretty good. What's the next?
Um, a little bit about supplements. Uh, so when do you put repair time, or when do you remove and replace
For what?
for a supplement? If there's some damage, like, how do you kind of gauge that? Say if there's like a fender that's bent up.
So, like, if you're doing, if okay, so for example, we did I think it was a Chevy pickup a while back. It's been a while back, but the rear tailgate was damaged, right? And it was kind of, it probably could have passed to be replaced, right? But we looked at it like this. We said, okay, you know what? We can replace this, and it'll probably take us. The truck will probably be here for like a week or two, waiting for parts or whatever. Or we can attempt to repair it and see how the repair comes out, right?
Mhm.
And so what we did was we attempted to repair it. We got everything straight on it. Like, it wasn't going to be a chopped up repair. Everything came out good. Everything was straight, and the truck was out a lot faster. So, and also too, it kept that factory tailgate, because a lot of times the tailgates have VIN numbers on them. So he keeps the VIN numbers, like, he keeps everything that looks original. And the reason why we went with that route is because, let's say if the guy wants to trade the truck in, there's no indication of it being repaired. So we kind of look at it like that. Okay, like, do we want to like just try to replace everything, or is there an opportunity to fix it and it be the original parts? You're not having to break all the bolts loose, because whenever you break the bolts loose, you have to. A lot of people. A lot of people don't do this, but so let's just say you're gonna replace the front end, right?
Mhm.
And you take the hood off, you take the fenders off. Well, a lot of times you scratch those bolts.
Like
The
the threads,
No,
or
like
like
the
the.
like you break the paint off the nut,
Mhm.
like the bolt,
Yeah,
right? And so you could tell the bolt was like
it has been removed.
removed. Yeah. So you can supplement that.
Oh,
Yeah, you can supplement to refinish bolts. So you take photos of it, and you can submit that. So we've done that a couple of times. I've done it a couple of times. I don't know if you've done it yet.
No.
Okay, yeah. So you got your
Oh, no.
that's your Tinder account.
Yeah. No, that's iMessage.
So you can actually supplement those things. So you can supplement painting the boats that you removed. So that's another little nugget right there.
So do you just add everything you can to a supplement? Any little thing that you look for?
Well, anything that you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like for example, the boat thing. I mean, you know, if you have to touch them up, like take a picture of it and supplement it. You know what I mean? Like we did that, like that black car was leaking all that oil. I said take a
Oh,
picture of
yeah.
that, dude. We have to clean that up. Like someone has to clean it up. Like
Mhm.
you need to get
And
paid for it.
the material that we use to clean it
Yeah,
up.
the kitty litter and all that stuff. Like we got to get paid for that stuff. And they don't mind paying it as long as you have proof and documentation. So just get the photos, submit it, and one thing that I would suggest if you're not using this, like use those paint markers.
Oh, to
Yeah, to mark your damage, like
so
mark,
they could visually see where
yeah,
it's at.
so you can mark your damage of the area.
Especially if they're going to be sitting behind a computer reviewing it
Yeah,
and not coming
you want to
out.
point out exactly what you're doing.
And also the angles of the picture could help.
Yeah, you're learning that too, like how
Mhm.
how you know.
Because if it's kind of like messed up, like wavy,
Yeah.
if there's like a panel and you take it from like the side, you can't really see it. But if
Okay.
you take it straight on, you can see where it's bent.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah.
Um, Next up, vendors. You were talking about making sure you buy it, not like spread out everywhere. But how do you pick your own vendor? Like where you buy
Okay.
from?
So with the vendors, if you're gonna be ordering parts, okay, you have to look at a couple of things. Okay. For example, like what a lot of shops do is they'll buy a bunch of parts and then they'll return a bunch of parts, right? So for example, uh, they'll just do that. Like, and so what a lot of aftermarket companies do is they'll charge you a restock fee, or they won't allow you to return after 30 days. So I guess one thing that I can just share with this, like, make sure that the return system is pretty simple, right? For example, like I know that if we need to switch something out, they'll switch it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of aftermarket companies that they won't just switch it out. Like you have to return it, they have to approve it, they'll give you credit. So you have to think of it like that. So before you're selecting a vendor, you have to say, hey, like, or let's just say because we have a vendor out of the valley, right, that we order from,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do like swap outs. So they're not gonna bring a part and swap it out for the wrong, like for the damaged one or
Yeah.
the wrong one. They're gonna make you return it. You have to pay for this one, and then they're gonna give you credit.
Yes.
Okay, so if you know that, you need to make a note. That way, whenever that part comes in, you double, triple check it,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to take it and then like, because now if you don't have the proper documentation in place, you're gonna forget you have credit there.
Yeah.
Or you're just gonna forget, because a lot of times they won't tell you have credit.
They're not gonna. It's not like automatically applied. They have to go.
Yeah, so
add
like
it
if you call and
themselves.
order something, they're just gonna send it to you, right? But if you call and says, "Hey, I have credit from this part," oh yeah, let me look it up. We'll
Yeah.
give you that credit. Because I remember one time, like we didn't. I think Elaine was like, "Man, like," because we were just ordering parts, and like Elaine's like, "You know what? I called over there and I asked them how much credit we had. We had like almost like $1,500 of
Wow.
credit." She's like, "But they never tell. They were not gonna tell you."
Mm-hmm.
So find the vendor that will do swap outs, that they're easy to work with. I mean, uh, not some a couple of a couple of vendors that there's one online. I forgot the name. It's called it's an aftermarket parts place on online. But they're pretty good, dude. Go, let me search aftermarket. Let me see real quick.
It's like after.
Yeah, go to aftermarket parts. I forgot the name of the company. If you're live on TikTok, if you're watching this on TikTok, let me know if you have any questions. We'll also answer your questions.
There's a car ID, Jags.
Let me see. I think it's called. Oh shoot. I think it's car ID.
Car ID. That was like one of the first.
Let me
ones
see.
I
Click
saw.
it.
Have you heard of Rock Auto?
Oh, I think this is. I think we use this one.
It's just
Let me see. Hold on.
put like a Subaru part or something.
Hold on. But I'm trying to see if I recognize it. Nah. It probably is like car ID. Let me see. Oh, Parts Geek.
Parts Geek.
Yeah.
So is it like
So the part that like the Parts Geek is pretty good. Like on part, like they have some pretty decent parts, and they're pretty quick.
mhm.
Yeah, they're pretty quick, and they're not too sketchy. But
How's
I
the
w-
return?
huh?
The return process?
I really hadn't had to return anything from them. You know.
hmm
But I mean, I'm saying like sometimes they'll have stuff that you can't find.
Oh, like
Yeah, and the prices are good too.
hmm
The prices are good. And they're probably I think the prices are cheaper than Keystone. So they have some pretty good parts, and they're cheaper than Keystone, and they come pretty quick. You know, uh, what was it? What do you find? That's right, vendor. So let's talk about fleet accounts. So
Oh,
how do you find fleet accounts, right?
hmm
The fleet accounts, those are gonna be built off of relationships, and so the way you find fleet accounts is like you're gonna have to you have to make visits. Like you have to make visits.
Go out there and talk to
Yeah.
people.
So like let's just say for example like let's say the post office, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You need to go down to the post office and says, hey, where's the main branch at? Okay. Who's in charge of the fleet repairs? Right? They're gonna say, okay, his name's Jim. Okay, do you have Jim's number? Do you have his email? How can I get a hold of Jim? Hey Jim, this is Stan from Certified Collision Works. I want to see if maybe we can get together, or if there's anything we can help y'all with. We do, paint and body repair for whatever, right? Uh, this is how the conversation goes, right? Hey Jim, this is Stan from Certified Collision Works. I just wanted to, see if there was anything that we can help y'all with. We do, paint and body for fleet vehicles. Jim's gonna say, no, Stan, you know what? We're good. We have that. We have all that covered already. Hey Jim, if you don't mind me asking, like, how good, if there was anything that they can do better, what would that be? Oh well, man, they just, since I'm really busy and we manage, I manage 1,000 trucks. I wish they had a little bit of a better communication, or the turnaround time. Okay, so that tells you what he's looking for.
hmm
Okay, and I'll say, okay, Jim, you know what, Jim? Hey, if we can have clear communication and give you a quicker turnaround, how from 1 to 10, what are our chances of doing business? You know what I'm saying?
hmm
He might say, you know what, maybe a 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say, all right, Jim, you know what? I'll tell you what, I'll check back with you next week. Okay, so a 5 is better than a 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
hmm
So a 5 that's like a warm lead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then when maybe if Jim's local, I'll go visit Jim. Hey Jim, I just wanted to stop by. One thing that I do sometimes is I'll get like I'll buy like little things from Matco in the tool truck.
hmm
I'll buy flashlights. I'll buy like knives. So I'll buy like little cool things, right? Maybe like a headlight thing,
Yeah.
and then I'll go take them to those guys. Like I'll be like, hey Jim, I bought you this.
hmm
And it's just something cool. You know what I mean? And what I'm doing is I'm just building a relationship. You know what I mean? Because I tell you what, like let's say I go visit Jim, 6 times.
Yeah.
Let's just say on the 7th time, he's like, hey, Stan, you know what? Our guy, he's pretty backed up. We have a vehicle. You think you can do it for us?
hmm
That's your opportunity to get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you get in there, then you can start to kind of build that that relationship. You know what I mean? That's how it starts, but you have to kind of keep doing. Like for example, like there's a service. I'm not gonna say the name of it, but there's a public service uh, fleet account here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're already working with someone already, right? But I make sure that I go and talk to those guys. Hey man, how y'all doing? Because I guarantee you, you know what? Like the other guy, they're not talking to them because I know. See, I also know who they're doing business with. So like for example, like I know I do visits. I know that a lot of the other shops don't do visits because I know who the owners are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I know they're not out doing visits because I know that they're like
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. You know what I mean? I know they still doing the work or they're whatever. And so I know like, hey, by me just going out there and talking to these people, like, you know, it shows them that I'm a real person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so that also helps. That also helps build those fleet accounts and you want to have fleet accounts and you so think of it like this, like you want to have you want to have a variety of different streams of when they say like so people talk about streams of income, right? Okay, so apply streams of income in your industry. Don't apply streams of income outside of your industry.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like you're gonna do, okay, we do collision repair, okay, we do insurance claims, we do self pay, but that's not a big percentage of our business.
Mm-hmm.
We do fleet accounts, but how many fleet accounts do we have? Those are all streams of business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those are all gonna funnel you work. Versus saying, "Oh, we only do insurance claims."
Mm-hmm.
That's only one stream of income.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of go out and say, okay, what are the streams of income that we have, so we can kind of figure out how to like, have all these different things going on. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee you, when you'll be busy with doing a lot of collision stuff, right? And then the fleet stuff will be low, but then the fleet stuff will be busy and you won't have no collisions.
That way
So
you're always
it kind
at
of
work.
it kind of balances out, And so it's called I have like a layout that I use and I also share with some of my guys that it's called the pipeline system. You know what I mean? And we have a tracking system where we kind of know what vendors we might be able to work with and how we kind of, keep track of it in those relationships. But fleet accounts, it's a big deal, dude, because you have to take care of those accounts too, because it's a partnership. Once you kind of build trust, you don't want to screw it up, and it kind of helps your business grow,
I remember you're also talking about being careful with what if you get like approach or like what fleet counts you want to go after.
Yeah.
If maybe you don't have the right equipment in your shop, or it's like something with like tall vehicles that can't fit inside your
Yeah.
booths.
So think of it like this. So what I've noticed, like a lot of shop owners, they want to go after the easy stuff, right? They say, hey, like let me go see if I can get rent a cars, right? Let me go talk to lawyers, personal injury wreck, right? Let me go like let me tell you the problem with those, right? Is the rent a car companies, they're gonna nickel and dime you, and they want it fast. They want it fast. They want it cheap and they want it good. So like think about it. If they want it fast and they want it cheap, you can't really use high end quality on them because you're not gonna make no money on it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to compromise and say, okay, well they want it fast, they want it cheap, so let me use cheap material. But then what if they don't like it? So now you're just like you're wasting, you're costing yourself more money because you're having to like cut corners and you're having to do this. And so now because you're cutting all these corners, you're actually bottlenecking your business. You're not gonna be able to streamline it because you're doing favors and you're cutting corners and you're doing all these little things that you can't like teach someone else to do.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So then also too with the attorneys thing, we used to do some work with attorneys and we still do sometimes, but it's very selective. And the way I always approach the conversation, I'm like, hey, like just so we're clear, like if you send us any of your customers or clients, we'll make sure to take care of them. But Like we're not in the business. We can't be giving you like kickbacks. And kickbacks is like, hey, if I send you 3 jobs, you give me $1,000.
Yeah.
because 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 now it's like another thing you have to manage. You know what I mean? And if someone's giving someone kickbacks because they're sending them jobs, then you're having to cut corners.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like and now like it's just something else you have to manage versus manage. Like think about the time you're gonna spend saying, oh shit, I gotta make sure we don't fix that and we gotta fix this because we gotta get this guy kickback and we're doing all that stuff. You know, don't blend that, save this. You know, versus using that energy to go get new money, go talk to your fleet accounts, go build those relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's usually, I mean, you usually got to do that. A lot of times people go after the dealerships too to get car lot work. Car lot works, it doesn't pay money. Those guys, think about it, like they just want the car done quick and cheap, and they don't want to pay because they're trying to make a higher profit margin.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you might be just kind of spinning your tires thinking that you're doing a lot of, you know, repairs, but if you actually run the numbers, you're not. You know what I mean? And
Like profit wise?
Profit-wise, because, you know, I talk to a lot of shop owners, and they'll reach out to me, and they're like, hey, I say, what kind of work are you doing? You know, oh, we have these 2 car lots. They keep us busy, right? I'm like, okay, well, how are you doing the estimates? How are you pricing those jobs? Well, I'm just giving them verbal pricing, you know? And I'm like, well, have you actually wrote an estimate on it? No, well, they don't want to pay, like, they don't want to pay full price. They want a discount. I know, but are you writing an estimate on it? You know, no, I haven't really wrote an estimate on it. Well, you need to write an estimate on it because you're not making money on it. Like, it might look like you're making money, but you're not. And the problem with that, too, is if you're not on top of your paperwork, a lot of those are net 30. So that means that they're going to pay you in 30 days.
Oh, okay.
You see, they're not going to pay you when the car's done. They're going to say, okay, let me give you a purchase order, and here's the purchase order, and, you know, we'll send it up to our bookkeeper, our accountant, and they'll get you a check mailed out. Like, they're not, it's not a priority to get your money. You know what I'm saying? If you do, this is a thing that you can probably do. It's a little nugget. Is if you're giving them invoices, if you're giving them an invoice and they're kind of paying off of the invoice, do your invoices in like a different color. So what color is paper? What color is paper?
White.
Okay, but what if my invoices were yellow?
Noticeable.
And so now you have a stack of invoices you have to pay, and you have a yellow one there, right? So now if you're Aaron and you do the billing, right?
It's gonna stick out.
Well, I'm gonna once a week I'm gonna be like, hey Aaron, I was in the area, dude, and I came and bought you some tacos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're gonna how hard is it for you to find my invoice?
Not hard. It's real easy.
Yeah. So if I build a relationship with you, and let's just say I'm waiting for some money, I'm gonna call, hey Aaron, man, I really wanted to see how how we're looking on that invoice for certified, man. I really can help with that, get that taken care of. How hard is it for you gonna be to find it in your sack of piles?
I just look over and it's right there.
Yeah, the yellow one, boom. Versus going through them, and so that's like a little hack. If you're still giving them invoices and then they're paying off of your invoice, change the color. Maybe do it pink. Maybe just have a unique color. You know what I mean? That stands out to you, and that's one way to kind of get paid a lot faster. Yeah. What else you got, Aaron?
Lastly, saw this question on YouTube. What insurance do you need for your business to make sure you're protected? Yeah,
I mean, just general commercial insurance. Call and tell me one. It's commercial and garage keeper. So like we have commercial insurance and we have garage keepers. So commercial insurance is for the actual real estate, and then garage keepers is for the bid
like the cars in the shop.
Yeah, the cars. So some vendors will require you have garage keepers. Most of them will. If you're doing
Fleet accounts.
Fleet accounts. If you're doing fleet accounts, they're going to require that you have some garage keepers insurance. So you might want to check and ask that first. You know, there's some that don't. You know, I know. I mean, it depends. It depends. You know what you're doing, but be creative, man. I mean, be creative with who the fleet accounts are. I mean, there's U-Haul. There's Amazon. There's
Chick-fil-A.
There's Chick-fil-A's. There's
Home Depot.
Home Depot. There's like the post office. The home health. Like there's
Firefighter.
AC companies like firefighters. Like this kind of thing. Like just look, take a different perspective and say, man, what's out there? I know right now we're working with some stuff with the refineries and stuff. So like, just put yourself out there and say, okay, who has a lot of vehicles that we might be able to help? You know what I mean? And that might be a fleet account that might turn into something else. I know for a while we had got a contract with Freightliner, and oh, yeah,
It went bad or something.
Call Eric on speaker.
Eric?
Yeah. See if you can link him up. Can you get live? Can you? Oh, you can't do it here?
Maybe.
That'd be funny. Anyway, we'll try to set it up later, but
next episode.
Yeah, next episode. Stay tuned for that the fleet line story. But one of my buddies like, hey, he worked at Freight Line. He's like, hey, we're looking for someone to help us with our trucks, and I was like, dude, bring him over, dude. Like, we'll do it. It was one of my first kind of like fleet accounts, right?
Oh, so you're excited?
Yeah, I was excited, dude. And dude, you have to call Eric, dude.
I don't have Eric's number.
You don't have okay. And so, dude, I was like, yeah, bring it. And dude, they fucking bring like these big ass trucks, not 18-wheelers, like a machine trucks, like almost like a fire truck, like a fire.
What were you expecting?
I don't know, dude. They brought us all kind of big ass trucks, dude, like huge trucks, dude. And we had to power wash them.
Mm-hmm.
We had to paint the wheels. We had to touch up like the paint, the interior, like. Dude, it was like massive jobs, dude, and it was just fun. Here, let me see if I find Eric's number. Anyway, we'll talk to we'll figure the Bluetooth out next time, and then we'll get Eric on here so he can tell us about his experience with that.
I think that's gonna wrap it up for today.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, man. The certified, I was gonna say certified podcast. The MassiveAction podcast. Everything related to the collision industry with technician tips, strategies, tactics, things that are going to help you make more money. That's really what we like to share. And if you have any questions, please drop your questions. We will reply to your questions on the TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram,
DMs as well.
The DMs we will get back to you on those. Another thing too, if you're interested in being part of Certified Elite is going to be basically like just training material on operating the business, the process, marketing, how to get credit, how to buy things with no credit. Just man, some making some big moves. So if you feel like, hey, you know what, I don't want to play small. I want to make some big moves. Hit me up. DM me on Instagram and just put, elite, and that's the code word, meaning that you're ready to do some serious shit. And we'll get on a call and we'll see what you're trying to do, and then we'll go from there. But anyway, good job, dude. Good job, man.